All right, guys, we are back. Another quarantined episode. Team Encore here with a very special guest that I'm really excited to have. I have to actually read this off because the bio that you have is just so crazy. So his name is Mike Phillips. He's known as one of the most electrifying instrumentalists today. First musician to ever be signed by Jordan and the Nike Jordan brand. The only musician in the world to have recorded and toured with the legendary big three of American soul and pop, Michael Jackson, Prince, and Stevie Wonder, all of whom I am massive fans of. In fact, there's a picture in the archive somewhere of me at 5 years old. I put on my church saddle shoes, a white glove, and came down. Our kitchen was being redone, and I was performing "Beat It."
Man, that's
So
crazy right there.
yeah, I was into it, man. I got to find that picture. Maybe we'll do like a throwback Thursday, but I don't know if I'd ever live it down. And I could be blackmailed.
Man, that's like a roasting advertisement.
It is. It's 100%. Yeah, roast me, right? So, all right. So anyway, Mike Phillips, world-renowned saxophonist. Welcome. Obviously it's really cool to have you. You and I have become friends over the last couple of years. So I gave the bio, but why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, any brothers, sisters?
Yeah. I grew up in New York, Mount Vernon, New York. So it was in a great time when music was, especially hip hop. I mean, Heavy D. He was the first person we heard on the radio that lived, down the street from us.
Yeah, P. Diddy and Heavy D, you grew up
Yeah,
by, right?
Puff, Diddy, Pete Rock.
Wow.
So it was a thing for hip hop in our little area. But I was a jazz head, so I had the dual duties of listening to Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, and then turning the dial the other way to the hip hop station and listening to Have, Brand Nubian, Mary J. Blige when she first came out with Father MC, Craig Mack. So yeah, it was a great time of growing up in Mount Vernon and being a part of so much. Al B. Shore lived like a couple blocks down from me.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so it was crazy.
That's just incredible because of what all those names turned into. And they're
Yeah.
just the neighborhood kids, like that. That's just who they were. And I don't know if I'd ever told you this, but one of my secret talents, I've been freestyle rapping since I was 16 years old. So
Oh, he got bars.
I got bars, man.
Whoa,
Metaphor.
whoa. We need to throw in the beat and do an encore freestyle.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You and I need a collab. So what I love though is that I legitimately grew up, listening to all those people, and just always been a big fan of hip hop and music in general. Really anything that made me feel something. But when I imagine you as a kid, I got goosebumps right now just thinking about being able to watch names like that, on the corners at the bodegas, that iconic scene of the Notorious B.I.G. in front of the bodega with his Kangol hat and everything. I can imagine that was an everyday thing for all sorts of different musicians and hip hop artists that grew up there, where everybody was just like, man, these guys are great, but had no idea that they would turn into legends. And that was your everyday existence, just growing up around that. That's so cool. I think one of the things that makes New York so unique.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so what about sax? I mean, what was the first thing? I know I'd read that your mom had turned you on to it. Well, not necessarily the sax, but I guess give us a little more detail. I know she gave you a record player, correct? And
Yeah.
that's
So
kind of how you got interested?
yeah. In music, my mom's had this little record player, and she bought a new one and gave me the old one. And I was 4 years old, just playing records.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget this one record, One Nation Under the Groove. I played it over and over and over. And the way it made me feel, now when I retrospectively just go back and think about how it made me feel, I can get in trouble and I'll put on that record and the whooping that I got 5 minutes ago wouldn't even have existed because music allowed you to, it shifted the paradigm of what you felt.
Mm.
You know, one nation under a roof. Like I just got in trouble for something, but I forgot that quick because of music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it now when after I had that record player and I played the song 60 times a day. When I got in second grade, I had the opportunity of picking an instrument and didn't know what it would come out to. I just wanted to get out of class. You know,
Mm.
it was an opportunity to get out of math class at the particular time. And I picked the wrong instrument. I thought the trombone was a saxophone.
Mm.
And so I picked the wrong instrument, and I was like, no, I want the joint with the slide. I need the joint with the slide. And it was like, we don't have anymore. So at first, I wasn't even happy with the horn. So from that to here, I tell you, boy, it's been a journey of attaching yourself to something that you love,
Mm-hmm.
understanding there's some destiny involved with it, and hard work. Because one of my favorite quotes is that you can't use your God-given gift as a crutch for being unprepared.
Mm.
So now, just because you love it and you have a gift, doesn't alleviate the hard work that has to come. Sometimes I practice 10 hours a day, sometimes 8. Lips are burning, splinters, come back, practice again, so
Wow.
just because of the love doesn't, and how easy I make it seem, it doesn't take away from the hours and hours that I practice.
Right. No, that's really interesting. It was your talent. I mean, did you realize that? Did the people around you realize? Was that almost instantaneous where you still, of course, had to put in work and learn, but it was kind of like when you first held that instrument, was it apparent to you that you felt like you were going to have a knack for it? And then,
Yeah, it was instant.
yeah.
I mean, still the work came, but the knack was instant, and
Mm-hmm.
the work came easily because I wanted to feel more of the knack. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
I wanted to prove that that knack wasn't, something that it was far fetched. So the fact that people knew I had something, and then the fact that I was a hard worker, it kind of like fueled itself. The
Yep.
practice, the hard work, the proving, practice, the hard work, the proving. And I was second chair. There was a cat in high school, and even through elementary, Teddy Brubaker, who was better than me. And I think um, he was, profound in me being so hungry, because no matter what I did, this dude was still better than me. It was just so. You talk about having the chip. I remember in 10th grade, he made it to the McDonald's high school band, which
Mm-hmm.
was the kind of like the McDonald's high school basketball team. He made it. I didn't get picked. So what did I do? I got mad, but I went back home and practiced. So
Yeah.
yeah, like there was certain things that, kind of like Jordan, allowed me to have a chip on my shoulder,
It's
which
funny you mentioned
worked
that.
out for me.
Yeah, I was going to mention it's almost like the story of him and his brother Larry. Larry having been better than him at basketball for a long part of his childhood, and that having fueled Michael. They talked about. I've been watching obviously The Last Stand or The Last Dance, whatever the
Yeah,
digital documentary, and talking. His father talking about how they were vicious battles. I mean, they got physical and everything, but that's part of what fueled him. To be the competitor. It sounded like this guy was your Larry. He was
yes,
somebody that you were trying to always get past. And going back to what you talked about, how yes, there was a knack instantaneously. I can see how, especially if you have a good work ethic, how it would. Like, I love what you said about it can't be a substitute, or an excuse to be lazy just because you're good at it. And sometimes it can work in your benefit, because if you have a knack for something and you're picking up on things quicker, you're seeing results. You know, I mean, some people get frustrated when they work out or whatever because they're expecting
Yeah.
results the next day. They want the six pack tomorrow. But you know, a lot of people, if you're seeing real development and growth and it's coming at a quick pace, that's also a great, I'm
It's
sure,
fuel. Yeah,
fuel.
yeah. It's
It's
fuel
like,
to
oh
want
man,
more.
I can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I'm
this close to
hungry.
doing
Like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, you get those results. You don't celebrate them. You get hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, if I can do this now, what can I do in a year from now? What can I, you know, what's the next great thing that I can accomplish? And you've had a ton of unbelievable, you know, performances and things that you've done. I kind of wanted to ask you about what's your, I'm sure you have several, but if you could nail down one, what is, I guess, your favorite musical moment? It can be a performance. It can be a behind the, you know, stage thing with somebody
Man,
performing.
it's so many of them.
I know. So it
One of
doesn't
them
have to be your favorite, but what's one of your top?
okay, so top three. Um, Nelson Mandela's birthday party performing with Stevie Wonder.
Wow, where was
Yeah.
that?
Cape Town. We did it in three cities: Cape Town, Durban, and Johannesburg.
Oh my, and I just proposed in Cape Town.
Wow, wow.
Like a week before everything hit. I made my girlfriend my fiance down in Cape Town.
Oh man, that's one of the most beautiful places on the planet. First of all, so
Unbelievable.
man, people don't get it. Oh
I'll
my
be back to
God.
Africa probably every other year because
Yeah,
I love the continent so much.
yeah, beaches. And Cape Town is like the perfect combination of beaches and mountains. People
Mhm.
don't, it's beautiful. So that, for the political significance of it, and
Mhm.
the fact that I was with Stevie, and the fact that I was just there soaking up history of having the opportunity to shake his hand. Um, I think something recent, the NFC Championship game that I played at.
Yep.
I think what's totally cool about that and what I felt is not necessarily, being on TV and millions of people seeing it, but we live in a time of such division that I got the opportunity to see people with different jerseys whose intention was to root for another team.
Mhm.
And there was a moment where two Atlanta fans was holding a Seattle fan, and they were rocking back and forth.
Mm.
And the gravity of the unity that music can bring hit me.
Yeah.
And it shows like the level of power and responsibility we have to unify people through the gift of music.
Yep.
It almost got me like real low, on a real low key emotional, because so the person with the Seattle jersey locking hands with the person with the Atlanta jersey that didn't know each other, but I'm playing and they're all locked and loaded and rocking back and forth as I play the anthem.
Mhm.
Um, it again, the understanding of the responsibility that comes with the music and what we have to put in the universe really will automatically put me back to the drawing board and say, how can I make that happen again and again and again? Where now the music isn't just a tool to make some money, even though bills need to get paid, but we understand that there is a bigger significance to the power that comes with music.
Yep. That's amazing. And what's your third? Because I want to get back
Um,
to that game in a sec, but
my third would be London, the O2 Arena,
mm,
when we did 21 shows in a row with Prince. And we did the last show, and I just remember Prince um, looking at the crowd and holding up his guitar, and he went down the toaster really slow. And I just stood on stage and I looked at the crowd, and then I looked at him, And I looked at how much he was loving it. And I looked at how much they were loving him. And sometimes to truly enjoy music when you're playing it with an artist, you have to kind of like, even though you got parts to do and things to play, sometimes I'm on stage and I remove myself from all of my musical responsibilities. And for a small temporary moment, I become a fan.
Yeah. I did want to ask, how did the signing of, by Nike Jordan, even come about? Because it seems, I mean, sure, sports and music can go together. They're both entertainment, they're both art forms, but how did that happen? I mean, you're the first ever to have done that, and it's just such a cool marriage. How did that come about?
Yeah. So, Brand Jordan, um, there's a word called being Jordanesque, which is, you know, whatever you do. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you're a golfer. You got to contain these qualities that are a part of the brand philosophy of Jordan. So when playing the anthem at a game, some of the executives saw it and they were like, "Yo, this is pretty different." And we're in a lifestyle brand, so to be Jordanesque, you don't have to jump 40 inches.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to be the best of what you do or have that quality of wanting more, just like Michael would. Um, the glue to it that I think that a lot of people don't know is that the label that I was signed to in 2001, Michael Jordan was a part owner in Hidden Beach.
Ah, okay.
So the exposure to Michael, for him to say, "Yo, man, let's do that," that was like the glue. So
Cool.
extremely happy that not only I got the opportunity to make history through that signing, but it shows other musicians, yo, I mean, you can get a deal with another company. You can be out the box. Let's not just do records. I mean, you're marketable. The music is powerful. It connects people. So let's approach it bigger than just doing a record and I get sales and collect iTunes money and then I go home. No, let's so that deal, it wasn't just for me. It was just to really show musicians out there, instrumentalists, saxophonists, the next young cat, that you can do some different things with your brand. And
Yeah.
one of the philosophies I go by is, you know, um, you can you should get to a point in your life where you have nothing to prove but everything to share.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I hope the Jordan deal allows people to see something bigger than just playing, but making some other alliances with different companies. And what a good company to be with, because at that time, Randy Moss was a part of the Jordan brand, Derek Cheetah, you know what I'm saying? It was so many people. So now I'm hanging out with the most competitive people in the whole world.
Yeah.
So then that's fueling me. And then Mike talking, I'm talking crap to you. It's crazy. So a true story. I'm at a event with Michael, one of his first ever golf tournaments in Vegas. And he's like, yeah, you're nice on the horn, but man, why don't you do something like golf where you got to practice? You got to really practice. So um, Greg Nard, who was working with Tiger at the time, heard this conversation between me and MJ, and he sent me some clubs.
Oh, so
Those new, those.
your entrance into golf was late.
Yeah, it was late. It was late. Like I'm 10 years into it, so
Yeah.
so Greg Nard sends me these clubs, and I didn't even want to play. It was the first Tiger Nikes, like the Squatch, like.
Wow.
So I give my clubs to my boy Ed, And I'm like, I don't want them. Ed takes me to the range and says, just hit one. So I hit a ball pretty decent, probably 50 yards, a 7-iron. And then I turned around to Ed and I said, man, these clubs that Greg Nard gave me, I said, I want them back. So I took my clubs back from him.
Yeah.
And he whooped my behind. I was working on the range for 3 months. And I said, I think I can play you. I think he beat me by like 17 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
So in fashion of like how Michael get down, I looked him in the eye and I said, I looked at my calendar and I moved to the date. And I said, you know what? A year from now, I will beat you on this same course. So I go home and I practice. I look at YouTube videos, and that year comes and we have this epic battle and I beat him by 1 stroke.
Oh, come on. He's good. So, he's amazing.
Yeah. And so after we get off this video call, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to the course and work on some short game with them encore balls that be spinning, man. One time I got to work on control and spin, because I mean, I hit some greens yesterday. The joint was like, skirt. I was like, man, I need to slow the spin down.
Yeah, that's funny. So you came across us 2 years ago, I think it was, at the Anthony Anderson tournament.
Yeah.
So just kind of tell me, I mean, you have access, and just like everybody, you know, most people here, Titleist, Callaway, this and that, but I don't know if you saw, 2nd year straight, the Elixir took gold on the Golf Digest hot list.
Yeah, that hot list, I saw it. You know me, I keep my eyes to the street, so I know everything that's happening.
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody your kind of your first experience at that tournament, just, you know, meeting us and getting the ball. And because I remember right after the tournament, like, you found me at the little post party, the little celebrity party.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I need
like,
that
dude,
in my
these
life.
balls are crazy. So why don't you tell everybody your first?
Yeah, so I'm playing the Pro V1, and you know, I come up to the tent that you guys had, and then he was like, well, you gave me a sleeve of balls, and I'm like, yeah, everybody make balls, you know, blah blah blah. Oh, you're not in the store, you're on the internet, yeah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's like, just try one. So I pull one out and I crushed it. So I said, you know, okay, cool, I'm gonna keep the ball with me, because this ball probably could be a one-hit wonder. So I look at it, no scuffs, no nothing. Okay, cool. So I tried again, and I finally got to a par 3, and man, it checked up on me. I'm like, yo. So by the time we finished, I said, I need to find this cat, because I need more of them. And I do some of the research, and I see how the hot list, which is something that's truly independent, and if you're not on it, you're just not on it. And it's like, you don't pay to be on the hot list. It's
right.
Not controlled by the product. So, you know, so I found you, and I got you gave me a couple boxes of balls, and man, I've been playing this ball ever since. Now, you know, it's crazy when you play in Portland in the winter. You know, the whole rule is, you know, you get your scuffed up balls or your used balls. I was like, nah, I can't even fool around with other balls. So even yesterday, I'm chipping, and these things are checking up to the point where I need to really work on my game for it not to spin as much as it do. I got some new Vokey wedges, so I'm still dealing with, you know, I got to hit it to the hole and it will check up for me. So
yeah,
with now me being a little bit more advanced golfer and understanding that, you know, it's important for the ball to have some distance and some feel around the green.
Yeah.
You guys have found a way to deal with all of those issues that we love as it pertains to playing balls. And, you know, it's interesting because I think it's just a matter of time where people understand that the marketing of the companies that stand on their name and not growing what the ball actually is, it's almost like Amazon. It's going to get to a point where people are going to realize, listen, it's better to play this ball and pay almost $20 less a box.
Mm.
So, And people, if I'm gonna get the same results, then why not?
Exactly.
So I love, and then as a musician too. And I say this, and I meant to tell you this before. It's like all we want is like when we finish a show is to come out to an encore.
I know. Yeah, we've talked about the. I mean, just
Yeah,
are you ready for an encore? I'm like, hey, if you got ties to Jay-Z, I need that song.
yeah, man. I did. Yo,
That.
all we want is an
And then,
encore. When you finish, when you hit your last note, be like, "Thank you, Detroit. Good night." And people be
yep.
like, "All right, leave." If you come out to an encore,
Yeah.
then you know you have done your job as a musician. So I mirror that with my golf game. If I'm not coming out with an encore, then man, listen, there's something wrong. I
That's
love the
awesome.
balls. I love them, and I've played probably like 7 rounds so far, and first time where I think 6 of them are like mid 70s. So
Wow.
I'm getting lower.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it about that whole story is, I mean, you literally, it was just such a well thought out, and I could tell a genuine, kind of not review endorsement of the ball, if you will, just because what you talked about is what we've been trying to preach. Like there are companies that have been resting on the laurels of their name and decades of brand establishment. They know there's like a big five in golf, and I don't know that they're really doing anything that innovative. And, when I told you our story, the whole thing, all of our products are patented. I mean, we create our golf balls from scratch. We're not reusing old technology or anything. Like we know that we have to actually innovate to make a name for ourselves. And I just appreciate that you actually recognize that. That's cool. So we got a little game.